break, so hang on, stay awake. We're here to talk about Amicus Attorney. I'm Lisa Smith Butler. I'm the director of the Law Library and Technology Center at Nova Southeastern University. This is Roy Bautista. He's the associate law library director there. I'm going to give you a bit of background and just a bit of history. He's going to tell you how it actually functions because he's the one who keeps it up and running. We started with this in 1998 or 1999 when Billy Jo Kaufman was at Nova. She's now at American. She's sitting over there so she can raise her hand.
Not coming.
Okay, why would you have case management software? For us, a big part of it is it fits with the school's mission. The dean's vision is that he is training lawyers to be prepared to practice in the 21st century. And he wants them to use laptops. We're a mandatory laptop school. And quite frankly, he sees every attorney as having a laptop, PDA and so forth. And he wants them to use their laptop as a personal portable tool the way an attorney would. To acquire, to organize, and to store data, because he sees that as being essential to the lifeblood of an attorney. It's information. The laptop's the most efficient tool for doing this. So it fits in with the school's mission. We have 7 clinics. They're not all operating at the same time, but we need to be able to automate the clinics. Too much paper, too much people time, too many file cabinets were needed to help keep up with the 7 clinics. We also wanted to be able to give our students a competitive edge. We wanted them to be able to actually understand how law is practiced out in the real world. And with case management software, as well as the clinics, they were exposed to timekeeping, billing, document creation, document production. So we felt that it would give them a competitive edge. And probably more importantly, malpractice insurance rates are considerably reduced for individuals who do have any kind of case management software because it nags you to death, reminds you that you have an answer due today. What you get with the case management software: timekeeping, document management, calendaring, billing, and filing. All of those things that those of us in here who are old enough to have practiced in a paper world used to do by paper. It integrates all of these things. So when you're taking a look, trying to decide what case management software program you want to buy, there are several things you want to look at. The cost. You're going to pay a flat fee, or will they give you a license per user? Equipment. Are you going to need new servers? There's some that require you to load the software, have a separate server for it. Are you going to need to upgrade or increase the number of desktops or laptops that you have? Add scanners. So that's another factor. Consider your equipment needs. Installation. Typically, this kind of software is installed on your server. So do you have someone on your staff, your library, IT, either one? They can install it for you. Can you do it yourself, or do you have to pay someone to come in and install it? And support, i.e. if you get it installed, can you keep it up and running? Those are all things that are going to be very important. We ended up choosing Amicus for one reason, because of cost. I believe initially they gave it to us almost free of charge. We're lucky, we get a flat rate now, so it's very reasonable, at least for law schools. They want us to train future attorneys on it so that when they go out to practice, that's the software they choose. Equipment, we didn't need to add another server. That was important, particularly for our network administrator. In-house installation, we were able to handle all of that ourselves. We loaded it on the server, loaded the software on laptops. In-house support became our issue. And to use the professionals, it was incredibly expensive. So one of the things I decided to do was have someone in-house trained and certified as an Amica specialist. We went to Montreal, Toronto. Last year, spent a week there, had to take various tests and so forth and so on, but he's now certified, so yes, I'm sure he will be happy to help you if you have questions. Other case management softwares, Abacus Law, Case Manager Pro, Legal Files, Time Matters, and Thompson's Elite Pro Law. It screen captures for you, Abacus Law, Case Manager Pro, Legal Files, Time Matters, Thompson Elite. So when you are choosing a case management software, several things you do need to consider. Can you do the installation? Will you be able to train the people? Because in addition, once you get the software installed, you're going to have training sessions. Roy goes down and has monthly training sessions with everyone in the clinic, and that's where we're starting to get it rolled out totally. So he goes down and works with all of them. He's a support person. If there's a problem, they call him. Do you have somebody on your staff? If not, can you afford to contact their support people? Equipment, like I said, are you going to need new servers? Are you going to have to upgrade your laptops or desktops? And you want to make sure that it's going to work with Word and WordPerfect documents. And one of the new considerations now is, will it function with personal digital assistants? So many attorneys are now living with their BlackBerry. It's going to have to work with those. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Roy. He's going to give you in-depth details, and then we'll take questions afterwards.
Just to continue what Lisa was saying, normally a certified amicus attorney person charges $75 an hour, so you can imagine it's better just to have somebody in-house. I'm sorry?
So you think that is now?
I'm just going to touch on real quick things that Lisa mentioned. The future is an automation of the law offices. Our law students, if they are familiar with this software, definitely they're going to be more competitive out there, especially if the law firms are already using this type of software. So, what exactly is a case management software? Well, it's a solution designed to automate the traditional paper-based law firm administration. So it will help you to streamline your practice management essentials, timekeeping, billing, accounting, and document assembly. Of course, attorneys have learned the value of this technology. Why shouldn't our students learn it early on? So we were looking for a solution to streamline the clinical program operations. No Rolodex to worry about, no phone messages. Phone messages are easily accessible, calendaring is more efficient, no more trips to filing cabinets. Bottom line is convenience. And I will show you a little bit more about this, of each one of those in a moment. So first of all, a little background of the company, Gavel & Gown Software, incorporated 1993, developers of Amicus Attorney. This software was designed at a law firm by an attorney, and I just like the philosophy that they use, and of course I added a part, and law students will. If the program works as an attorney would. So they stay competitive. You handle your case law more efficiently. Reduce likelihood of conflicts. I will get back to that in a moment. Remind your deadlines. I have talked to attorneys who have told me that, oops, I forgot my hearing. Amicus Attorney will not allow that to happen, if you use it properly, of course. The same thing, you won't forget to stay in touch with clients. That means that if you haven't been on a particular file, let's say for a month, Amicus Attorney will come up and tell you, you haven't checked this case, this file is still open. Do you want to call this client? That's how it works, and of course, you can set up the timetable. Keep files current, and of course, some insurances will give you a discount in malpractice, in the malpractice insurance if you are using Amicus Attorney. I'm just going to show you a little bit of what other people have said. It's a must for a lawyer. Something I was talking to one of my professors. I was telling him that, the clinics are free, so why should we worry too much about the billing part? He said, no, tell them about the billing part, because they need to know how valuable the time is, and of course, once they get out there to the attorney world, they need to know, hey, billing, this is your livelihood, so just keep that in mind. And of course, other than about the go home early part, you might be able to finish early. So, students learn about the importance of billing, keeping up with the billable hours, growing the practice without adding staff. I knew of a solo practitioner who started using this software just because, hey, I cannot afford to hire a paralegal, so let me just use Amicus. More practicing law, more time practicing law, less time administering your practice. That's definitely true. So you work more efficiently. Information need only enter once. Group calendaring function. Templates for standard documents. What this means is that once one attorney or a paralegal or whoever enters information in Amicus, all the other persons in the group can have access to it. You can use it, you can reuse it. Of course, you can restrict access if you have to. But the good thing is that if that notion is already there for whatever, hey, I can go ahead and take it out and reuse it. So that's a good consideration. The do bottom feature of Amicus will let you accumulate stakes of a transaction. So if you, for example, create a document, and then immediately after that you make a phone call and add some notes, you can let Amicus Attorney, next time I do this type of transaction, I want just to push a button and I want you to generate all the information, all the notes that I created. And all you have to do is just change the names. That is one of those time-saving features in the program. Definitely information at your fingertips. And once I show you this, a little bit more about the notes and the context, you will know what I mean by this. The callback reminders. There's something within Amicus called the delis, which I will show you in a moment, which will let you know what's going on at that particular day or month or whatever, however you wanted to set it up. But if you use the calendaring function faithfully, you will be able to keep up with all your appointments. Same with overdue items. And file notes and custom fields allow you to store and recall all the important details. Now, something interesting, if you do decide to go with Amicus or with any other product, something to keep in mind is there will be always somebody at your workplace that is a fast learner, that will get it faster than the others. Maximize those employees because they will help you to deploy the software faster. Because you will know right away who the person is. This is a files. Within Amicus, as you see, some kind of electronic accordion type of folder. This will help you to track people, tasks, time spent, email, appointments, documents, research, and phone calls. Everything right there. Set of reports and file chronology, custom file fields, information is cross-referenced. You can set up Amicus to work with Word or WordPerfect or Notepad, whatever you would like. This is a bigger view. And as you can see, you can add a new file, you can find a file, or delete it, or open one of the ones that you see over there. You can double click in one of them, same thing. The tabs within the accordion, those are customizable. You set it up the way you want. Another thing is that this is a place where you will go to avoid conflicts. In other words, you search through the files by name to see if, hey, have we dealt with this person before and about what? Not only will it pull out the file, it will pull out any other file that is in some way or another directly or indirectly related to this particular client. The comm center. We haven't used too much of the comm center in Elmer, but something that we might. Through here you can centralize messages, phone calls, emails. File a person, or a client, time calls, and record details, bill for incoming and outgoing email, receive notes of calls, and emails by associates. Now, you can set up Amicus through your modem so it will make phone calls for you. You can also set it, synchronize it with Outlook so that all your emails go directly here. So, anyway, once you have this program off, you technically don't have to, unless you need to do something in your desktop, and you don't have to get out in order to have access to your normal communication activities. All with one-click entries. Callback reminders will pop up here, and of course, will pop up in the dailies, which I'll show you in a moment. The calendar function, tasks are brought forward until marked done. That's something good. If you forget, with Outlook, you get the reminder, but maybe you, instead of hitting snooze or whatever, I don't know what is the correct word that I use, but it's much easier to dismiss an appointment there than here. Here, it just constantly reminds you, you are not done with this particular task.
It's a professional hacker, I call it.
You can, of course, link related tasks, use the do button, intelligent assistance, so reminders on the calendar. I know I put there up to 7 days. Really, the calendar will do so much more. First of all, the list of, they have an extensive list of holidays, including their Canadian holidays, being this is a Canadian product. But also, let's say that you're told that on the 25th of the month, you have a court date. Oh my God, and then you say, well, I have to file a motion 5 days before that. Well, you can plug in the court date rather than having to mess with the calendar, Amicus attorney will calculate for you and will plug in for you, okay, well, if the court day is this day, then the motion is this day, and the hearing is this other day. So you provide Amicus information, and it just streamlines everything else for you. And of course, the automatic email notification. More about the dailies in a moment. Now, the notes module is something that they just added, actually, last October when they released version 5.5. Attorneys were telling them, you know, okay, I have Amicus up, I got this client who called, I was looking for a pen and a pad, I couldn't get it right away, and I was writing everywhere. Well, just to make it more easier for attorneys, Amicus added the notes module. And it is just that, an electronic notepad. Every time you finish with a notation, it pushes down, and as you can see, it has so far over there about 6 of them. And from there, you can just transfer the information. So if I click on one of those, I can convert that into an email, or I can just send it to a file. I can convert that into a contact, whatever I want to do. From anywhere, something else, from anywhere within Amicus, you can activate a timer. Now again, why would I care about a timer in the law school? I wouldn't. But if the students know that it's there, and they ever need it in the real world, well, that's a nice way to keep track with your billable hours. 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes here, next thing you know, you have an hour. And you lose track of time sometimes. So I don't have a capture screen for the timer, but usually it looks like a smaller version of the notes. And once you stop the timer, it's going to ask you, what file should I transfer this to? What do you want me to do with this information? So, a good way to keep track. As you see here, done with a note, it's asking me, right here, this button would let me select to whom I set a sticky to. A cool thing about Amicus is that you have electronic stickies. They're yellow, they just look like the regular stickies. You can send a sticky to anybody within your group, and it doesn't matter what they are doing, and it doesn't matter in what module of Amicus they are working on. That thing will pop up, will ring, and will let them know, hey, the senior partner needs file whatever, bring it over, or something like that. Or don't forget, we have a lunch chat. So, but it will also let you associate, as I mentioned, the particular node to a particular file. Or you can print it or restrict it. That's what the R means, restriction. So you need some notes appear on files, making them flexible. Convert your notes easily to a phone call, phone message, time entry, email, to-do, or appointment. Well, with one click, without having to re-enter. No retyping, no transcription. So, pretty convenient. And of course, the sticky messages. This is a view of the calendar. Monitor who is doing what and when. It's not only you see your calendar, you see everybody within the group. View month by criteria. In this case, you can set up, show me how the core appointments for everybody this month. That allows you to find available time for other appointments. You see who's doing what, so you manage other people's schedules. And of course, as you see there, I mean, it's kind of it's a little bit blurry, but in reality, what you see there are columns with different names. So you have, you know, who's doing what. Tracking your time, as I was mentioning to you. Once you get done with those timers, This is where it goes. But it's just also a way to create a timesheet if you have to create one. And again, billable hours become the predominant topic of this type of knowledge. The contact view, as you see, it just looks like a Rolodex. But an electronic version of it. So you see complete events, contact information, phone calls, emails, and files. So this is a, you could say, cross-reference with every file that you have. So you have multiple ways of having access to the information, keeping track of everything. Multiple business cards, like you see to the left. Search contact index. So efficient. Custom contact fields, conflict of interest checks. Again, you search by name to develop your business. Now, this is the larger view of the contacts field. As you can see here, it's alphabetized. So rather than going on crazy looking for that card that you're looking for, just click in the letter, and by last name we will find it, or by the name of the company. You set up your card. So when it's time for you to search it later, it's easier because you have created that customization. Of course, it helps if you use something familiar like a last name or business company, because again, the cool thing about Amicus is that once you enter this information, you're doing it for you and you're doing it for your team members. Of course, you can delete, find, open, create new contacts. It's not that easy to delete. I mean, you can, but there are several safeguards, and of course, your administrator that give you the rights to do that as well. So, you know that will be me. Not the dailies. This is probably what I would say the coolest thing within Amicus, because when you log in first thing in the morning, not only might you find a note from your administrator telling you, hey, we're restarting the server or whatever, or we have problems, or just to say hello, but also the dailies will give you a snapshot of what's going on that day for everybody. But in particular, it will give you a snapshot of what is important for you that day. To the left, you have your customizable list of items, websites, etc. I'll show you that in a moment. To the right, you have the advisory notes for the day. As you review the state of your practice, key matters are brought to your attention. Content changes daily according to what's going on in your practice. Click on any item in the report and be taken instantly to the details. Customizable views, I'll show you a little bit about that in a moment. Links to websites and your internet. So this is a larger view. Of course, you got today's practice reminders, today's overview, the firm news, legal news, top news, weather, golf, whatever. And then to the right, you see you have unread phone messages. Warning, you have spent more than 12 hours on Aladdin purchase. So, hey, they pay you for 10, then you spend 12. That's up to you how you want to set it up. So, those will be the today's practice reminders. And also, this is another way to look at it. Right below is today's overview. This is today's overview. The outstanding to-dos, the outstanding phone messages, the outstanding emails. So all this information, by the end of the last day, or whatever you decide to postpone, or early that morning, emails that came in, information that needs to do, reminders from your paralegal. They're all here. And of course, the cool thing about it is, if you see they are prioritized, top to, from high to average, and of course, there's no lows there, but you get the idea. And that's today's overview. Now, how would you personalize this? Well, actually, you can personalize the entire view, which I'll show in one of my last slides. You can personalize the views within Amicus. In this case, I am within the today's practice reminders, and then I can choose what I want to do. Remind me about business developments if I haven't opened a file in 21 days, 30 days, 15 days. That's something you can do. You remove a file from the active list if there has been no activity for 30 days. You won't delete it, you just move it to the inactive file or whatever. So that's a neat feature. And of course, you see the tabs on top: Office, Calendar, Contacts, Files, Timesheets, Library, Dailies, Com Center. Those are the main views within Amicus. All of them accessible to you here. Your administrator can go in and add more functionality or take it away. It all depends. But the user, the workstation, has a lot of control as well. So if I want to play with the dailies, now within the dailies I have the dailies pages and the today practice reminders. Well, I was here now I am the dailies page. Now if you look at the links to the left, they are not the same ones that I showed 2 slides ago, because I went in and I changed them. I brought up a version of 5.5 and I said, well, I want to customize this, I want to make it more my own. And of course, the separator buttons allows you to set up, what goes on top, what goes at the bottom, just to make it for priority reasons. If you want to add a new link, well, you click the new button. I mean, it's very easy. The title that you want. In this case, I typed NSU Law in the URL, which is the URL of my school, and there you go. So that's another good thing. Not only I'm in Amicus, and now I can get my emails. Now I can get my phone calls. Do I have to bother about going to the web? Well, if it's on my website that I'm talking about, no. I already have it in there as well. So, unless I have to do some search on the web, I really technically don't have to do that. For legal news, I set it up as American Bar Association. You can pick whatever you want. It's always good. When you're in Florida, always be aware of the weather. So I like to keep my weather channel there. When I'm in Florida, I also go golfing. As a librarian, this is the area that I like the most. Although you don't have to be a librarian to learn to love the library function within Amicus. First of all, it's highly customizable. So, just like everything else. Store and organize legal research for reuse in the future. That's a big deal. Integrate information from multiple sources or services. Full text and Boolean searches. We're familiar with those. Save research with client files. Simplify access to paid services. Automatic time entries for research time. That's another thing. Again, emphasizing keep track of your time. Over 400 pages of default content. This is the larger view. Now, you have, in essence, 5 things to consider, just in this page alone. We are in the catalog view. Sorry, I don't have a picture of the research query view, but just think of Lexis and Westlaw, and it just looks exactly like that. You will get the option to do a Boolean search or natural language search. But the catalog view is the key. right below, you have the Organize button. That's where you set up your library. Everything that you do there will affect the right side of the screen. Right now, I have open the very first book. That's claims. Now, within claims, I have pages. The pages you see in the table of contents. Now, every time you highlight one page, like in this case, it's a wrongful dismissal, you get the description of the wrongful dismissal page and the summary page, which is the very last one. So that's how you browse the pages within the books. The accordion type or organizer that you have within My Books in the left side, that is what makes all the shelves. So President is really a shelf. So you can create your entire library with as many shelves as you would like, up to a limit. We have a richer limit. But that's it's pretty handy. The labels on the books, you set those up too. That's another thing. You can have another thing, and this is for you're doing your own personal search. I mean, you might want to use a Matrix to do a personal project that you don't want to share with the group, but you have the personal on-shelf material. In reality, it is like, just imagine that you go into the law library and you have a shelf with a class and a key, and only you can get to those books. That is your personal library. So Amicus also gives you that option. We're not using this product yet, but I just want to make you aware of it. Amicus Assembly. But Amicus, we have right now, as a default, either Word or WordPerfect, depending on whatever the user wants. Of course, once you set up a document, you can reuse it. But if you want the added versatility of not having to even worry about that and just having all the documents made, and all you have to do is plug in some names and stuff, Amicus Assembly, which is an add-on to Amicus, will allow you that. And of course, we generate those documents in PDFs, which is pretty good. Drop documents and update your database. Smart document selection, document templates are automatically filtered according to your Amicus Attorney file type. Automatically name documents and auto-save to a specified location for consistency throughout the firm or the law school. Now Amicus has other good features. Links with over 40 third parties. Products. Sync information with personal organizers. Yes, it will work with your BlackBerry if you have it. Bi-directional link with Microsoft Outlook. So, like I mentioned before, you can set it up to work with Outlook. Share information with your key tools, including data accounting, time slips, PC Law, QuickBooks, juries, and Tabs 3. PC Law happens to be also in Canada, just in case you're wondering. Document management, Word Docs, for docketing software like CompuLaw, all of those can work with and within Amicus Attorney. I also found out that there is something called Florida Docs and Texas Docs, for those of you that are not from any of those states. Now, Amicus Attorney has a little bit of intelligence of its own. Part of it is what I have already mentioned to you. You tell it, hey, I want you to repeat this type of function from now on every time I deal with this particular case, and it will do so. It's a mixture of the do button that I showed you before and something that Amicus Attorney called the precedence. Of course, as you see there, use email-enabled PDA, BlackBerry, cell phone, or PC to send or receive information. There are some setups that have to be done, but once that's done, you can communicate. You can email to yourself from a remote location to Amicus. With synchronization as well. You hot sync with that button. for calendar appointments and to-dos. And the secondary office. I got this question before. What happens if you're in a remote location and you want to use your amicus? Well, put it in a CD. Take it with you. Do all the changes that you want, all the add-ons that you want, and when you get back to the office, just simply synchronize it back to whatever you have, and also you in essence synchronize it back to the server. So these are the products that they have: the organizer, the advanced, and the client server. If you are in a law school setting and you want to use this, definitely the client server is the way to go. More capacity.
Are you using the client server?
We are, yes. And of course it gives you the synchronization with Outlook that the organizer and advanced will give you. Teamwork reports, which we like. Automatic time backups. I have this. Right now the database is small for us. As it grows, I have it set up so that Amicus will do an automatic backup every Friday morning. But who knows, I might just have it Monday and Friday so the database continues to grow. We have employees, the paralegals and the professors that are using this right now. They send their own, they keep their information in their laptops, they send it to the server, to a particular folder created for them, which, believe it or not, Amicus created for them. It's called the Shared Documents folder. And we have the Team 50 folder, which is also created by Amicus, and that's where all the backups go to. So the information is always in one location, normally in 3 locations. So we avoid using that way. And of course, as Lisa mentioned before, I participated in the Certified Consultant Program in Toronto. It is worth doing. If a law school is going to go for it, they should have somebody in the staff that know how to do it. It will be worth it. And as I mentioned before, the $75 that a certified consultant charges, that is the minimum. It can go up to $125, so it's something to keep in mind. So, just to give you the broader overview, files organize your practice, the comm center controls your communications, the calendar manages your day, your notes is your notepad, your group schedule is your calendar, but also everybody's calendar at the same time. Track your time from any place within Amicus. It won't let you forget. If you put the appointment right there, it won't let you forget it. If that court appointment is there, it will remind you. Mobile office, as I mentioned, you can take it with you. The dailies, what's going on today, the library. This is my view. This is after you're done with the dailies, done with the appointments, you're done seeing what you have to do that day, then Amicus brings you to this page, or you can collapse the dailies and it will bring you here. The top toolbar is for you to customize how you want Amicus to work. You might need some help with from your administrator from some of the features, like how do I get Amicus to bring up Word when I want to create a document. Well, there is some settings that need to be done. How do I tell Amicus to save my document in this or that folder in the server? Again, another setting that you will have to work with. The picture that you see right there, that you can change. And of course, those are the buttons that you see. Is what I just went one by one through all of those. of course, I'm going to finish right here and leaving you with the words of the Assistant General Counsel who Wachovia Corporation. He must have relatives right librarians because that's the feature that he has the most. And we have some time for questions. Yes.
I see, it looks like confusing, I think it's 5.5.
Yes.
Did you originally start out with X and then have to go back to 5.5?
No, we haven't used X.
Okay. We tried to use X and they recall that no writing is 5.5.
Yes. X, I mean, they are, with X, they are going in the right direction, which is a browser-based environment. But we haven't had to, we haven't seen the need to use that in the last bit.
Yeah, you know, you seem to have a really positive presentation of the software, and I'm assuming you're wondering, did anything go wrong? Was there anything you didn't like? I didn't hear anything negative so far, so I'm kind of scratching my head about that a little bit.
Well, yes. How do I handle problems? Well, there's two things. And I don't know, first of all, I went to this class in Toronto, and every time a certified consultant class finishes, there is an agreement that all of them will be in some kind of Yahoo group. So, if I have a problem and I get stuck, I send a question to Yahoo group, and usually within 24 hours I get somebody to email information. Also, if you call as a client to Amicus Attorney for help, you will be put in a queue, and of course you have 5 people ahead of you or whatever. You heard those before. But if you're a certified consultant, they put you ahead of the line. They are very quick at responding. I haven't had any major problems. I just noticed that recently, when you set up Amicus automatically bonds with Word. It puts a couple of buttons in Word. One of them is add to file. In other words, I'm done with the document. I can add it to a file. But I cannot do that with Word Perfect. So I had to tinker with this files in the server in order to get that going. But yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but I can get pretty quick to it.
From an administrative point of view, I will say that we had difficulty with it until we sent him to train as a certified consultant. And once we moved to making somebody in-house a specialist, it's much easier to administer.
Well, forgive me, this seems a lot like an infomercial, but what's really important to me is what was the process you went through in evaluating the competing products that led you to pick Amicus?
We went through, we looked at, well, what we really, when we initially picked Amicus, there wasn't a whole lot out there. In fact, there was very little out there. What we really liked about it is, especially the old-timers who had practiced law, it looked exactly, it was very comfortable in terms of practicing law. It looked exactly like what we were used to doing.
You're talking about your clinical faculty?
Yes, yes. So that was something that made them very comfortable. As I said, one of the things we didn't need to do was purchase additional servers. So we looked at equipment, and cost was a factor as well. They were willing to work with us to get it very cheaply.
Yeah, I mean, like, we got the 5.5 upgrade for free, so the gentleman in the back.
How much time should we expect to have to devote to maintaining, I mean, how much time do you spend for how many students per week for courses?
Well, right now, I don't spend much time. Probably about 3 hours a week. Now, I mean, not all the clinics are using this right now. Usually with this product, with any other product, it's just the initial time. I mean, just law firms are noticed, and I use the example of law firms because they have more experience with this type of software than law schools. Law firms are noticed that during the first 6 months of deployment of this type of software, everything slowed down because they had to train the staff, they needed to get the case work done, and bring in the consultant several times to train everybody. But after that, usually they double their capacity to do the work. So everything speeds up after that. So usually, so I would say within the first 6 months to a year, you might have to dedicate more time than normally it would be.
Other than clinic, have students and faculty using
Just the clinics, just the students at the clinic and the professors, and the paralegals.
We're also going to need this shop happening for a couple of years. First of all, I didn't realize that they were all 10. I thought that it was available, but just not ready for prime time yet. So thanks for doing that, because we were gonna, that was on my list of things to do. So my questions are: the students required to use it, and do you go to your intercession periods? Do you uninstall and reinstall for each one of your users?
Yes, the students are required to use it,
Okay.
and yes, I mean, in order to protect the licensing agreement, once they're done that semester, they come back to me and I'll install the software.
Because we spend a great deal of intersect this semester in between our, we had 2 days and 50 computers to uninstall, and we figured out that you just have to delete an any file. No, we got this down with science. Now we presented on this at CALI Lessons and that. But, the intercession time is significant. And also, are you doing the administrative portion then, like adding users, et cetera?
Yes.
Because we turn that over to our clinic staff now. We have them manage sales users.
That's what I was mentioning about taking advantage of those fast learners.
Yeah. Well, but,
Yeah, I guess it's the same question here. At Arizona, we started last semester with Amicus X, and we struggled with it for a few months. And they tried to provide us with the support, but then a couple of weeks ago, we called for support again because we wanted to put it in production. We discovered, well, sorry, no longer we support that version, the web version. And they offered us a new version, it's called Amicus 5 Plus.
Yes, 5.5.
Free of charge. And we spent 2 days, I guess, with the tech support and work a consultant in to try to set it up. One of our main problems was in the clinical environment where students change the same thing. And we have a clinical lab that the students change. And we didn't want to keep on changing setups, installing, and all of that stuff. And they provided us with something called the switcher. And so we decided, instead of actually creating a specific profile for each student, we have generic profiles. We have like student 1, student 2, student 3. So when the semester changes, we just assign those profiles to the newcomers, to the new students. We still don't know how that is going to work because we haven't put it to work yet.
So that's an idea.
But that's what we're doing.
The person who asked the question originally about what you went through when you made a selection, that's a really important process Because if you decide to go from Amicus to Time Matters, or the conversion process is undaunting. And so be pretty sure you like what you like, because conversion is not pleasant and not easy.
And the biggest question is always talk to your sysadmin, what will your system support? That's probably the most important question, I think, is can we even use this product on our network?
Yeah, well,
So,
it's,
gotta talk to the sysadmin, because we ran into that problem.
yeah.
If you were to do it, if you were to take a look at the market today, it seems to me that one would want to try to find out where your students are going, and maybe an important consideration is what system is deployed, or if there is no consensus or a majority of your users, it seems that might be an important consideration.
Survey.
Yes, sir.
One question. First one was, who does the actual training of the students, and about how many hours do you actually spend?
I do the training, and of course, I get a little bit of help from the paralegals. I sit down with them for about a couple of hours, show them the ropes, and then the very simple things, the paralegals during the day, they can do this, do that. When they get stuck, they call me and I come down. But I mean, if you do it within a team environment, it works very well.
I have to try and do it this fall. We just put in Time Matters Workspace. And it had some of the faults you mentioned. We had to buy a new server. It's set up just for that. The beauty of it is that it's accessible through the web, and you don't have to load any software onto the computer. However, it'll be about 6 months before I can tell any of you if we were saving it. I mean, the server is up, it's running, and we're taking the faculty through training. Until I see that the faculty using it, the first group of students going and using it, I'm not willing to venture an opinion. Maybe next year.
Yes.
So, as I look at this program, just take a look back at it a little bit, it doesn't really seem to me to be a whole lot different than just a customer management or a sales management or a consulting management program. It looks like it has a few legal specific things, but not that much. And I'm wondering if, I guess for you guys and for everybody, is there a wider range of applications you can consider? Because this really kind of looks a lot kind of like, you know, an Axe calendar program or something like that with a few additional things.
We've got conflicts checking, which is really quite customized in its scope as to what needs to be done. I think if nothing else, that is something that is especially endemic to this kind of software that you're not going to find in a typical sales, act or something like that. And if you take advantage of it, you've got the document management hooks, which you're not going to find in a typical contact management.
It doesn't necessarily mean Axe per se, but
no, but I mean,
an enterprise.
Right. There's some. There's a lot of specific things that deal certainly with malpractice management, especially, and even though students don't have that much to worry about malpractice while they're in law school. Once because ultimately the supervising attorney is going to be able to weigh it. Once they're in practice, they really don't want to skill and that ability.
And one of the things that impressed us, the gentleman who created this is a Canadian attorney. He came to visit, and this literally was his baby. He took everything from, so it was, I would say, it was very customized. He literally took the way he practiced law and talked to his programmer, and had his programmer build the program around it. That's how it originally started. And that's one of the reasons, like I said, our clinical faculty were so very comfortable with this.
I don't want to hold anybody, another time is up, but I'll be here for a few minutes.